So today we will learn about what all the site supervisor can do inside the on-site application. So this is the screen of the admin who is sitting in the office. The admin can see all the projects, running projects. Like for example, this company has 10 running projects. Now let's go into one particular project and let's add our site supervisor. Let's say Sumit is my site supervisor. So I will give the role of the manager to this site supervisor and add him into this project. Now we will see how this manager will see this project inside his own application. So this is the screen of the mobile app. This is the mobile application screen of the site supervisor. We can see the Sumit Construction is the company name, and the site supervisor can only see one project where he has been added. So we will go into this project and see what all things he can do. This is the balance screen of the site supervisor. So there are right now no transactions because this supervisor has not done any expense yet. We will start from the material flow. Inside the material flow, the supervisor can add a material request whenever he needs the material inside the site. So he will just click on the blue request button and add what material he requires on site. For example, let's say he requires aggregate 12 mm and also he requires Asian paint. So he will just add these two items and add the quantity. Let's say he requires 100 cubic feet of aggregates and 20 liters of paint. And he can add the notes also. And if he wants to click a photo, he can do that and he will just save it. Now this request has been added and we can see the two pending requests. Whenever these requests are approved by the office team, the site supervisor can see the status of these requests. For example, the previous requests which are ordered, he can see it here. What all things are ordered by the office team and what in what quantity, right? So supervisor can see that here. And whenever the material is received by the site supervisor on site from the vendor, he will just click on the received button and add which vendor he is receiving the material from. For example, Agarwal Jaguar, and he is receiving aggregates. Let's say he is receiving 50 cubic feet of aggregates. He will just click on save, right? And whenever the in let's go into one particular material aggregates, and he can see that what all material are received and what all material is used from the aggregates. If he is using any material on any particular day, he can he can enter the received used entry also. He will just click on used button and mention how much quantity is being used today. Let's say 20 cubic feet. He can also enter the roads, for example, used in first floor of building. So this way he can enter all the material received and usage entry, right? So this is how the site supervisor can update the entries of material request, material received, and material used. Now we will go to the attendance section. In the attendance section, whatever workers are added by the office team inside the attendance section, the supervisor can mark the daily attendance of these workers. For example, Bharat Electrical is my labor contractor who is supplying me electrical labor. For example, so in this particular situation, Bharat Electrical is supplying me, let's say, 10 female workers. So supervisor will just enter 10 workers here, and let's say he's supplying me two electricians. So he will just enter two electricians here. And Raju Kumar is my electrician who is a permanent labor of my team. And supervisor can also mark the absent present of this particular worker. For example, he is present today. And if he wants to change the shift of this worker, the shift can also be changed. And if there is any overtime or allowance or deduction, we can mark that also. And he can also add the labor photo. So let's say while marking the click the photograph and save it. So this photo will be visible on the attendance page as well, right? So this photo will be visible here. to the office team. Now, let's go to the equipment section. The supervisor can mark the equipment usage, daily equipment usage of the all the equipments present on site. For example, excavator is being used today. So we will just click on the start and mention the start rating of this equipment. Let's say 105 is the start rating, and he will save it. In the evening, when the equipment is being stopped, he can enter the stop reading also. For example, let's say the stop reading is 111. So the total equipment used today is 6 hours for excavator. And if there is any fuel consumption, he can add the fuel consumption also. Let's say 100 liters of diesel is being used. So total equipment usage as well as the number of hours of this equipment can be added by the site supervisor. So this is how the equipment readings can be updated by the site supervisor. And going to the file section, these are all the different folders which are added by the site office team. RFQ is basically request for quotations, and we can add multiple new folders also. Drawings is basically the site drawings which are added by the site office team for the supervisor to see what all the latest drawings are. The site photo supervisor can click from the site, and let's say I am clicking two photographs, and I can just save it. The site photos are clicked by the site supervisor when he is on site, and these photos can be visible to the office team inside the project. For the task section, whatever tasks are being added by the office team for this particular project, supervisor can update the daily progress of this task and also send the uh, DPR also to the office in the evening. For example, excavation is the task. So today progress is, let's say, 10 cubic feet. So he can add the progress along with the dimensions. And if he wants to record a message, he can also record a message. For example, clicking here, आज progress नहीं हुई. There is very little progress today. And he can just click on send, and this way the progress will be, he can update the daily notes in the site progress. And if there is any material usage in this particular task today, he can click on the truck button and mention which all material is being used today in this particular task. So let's say 6 stone is being used in 1 quintal. So he can just save it. So this way we can clearly see what is the progress today, what comments are being mentioned by the site supervisor for this particular task, and what is the material which is being used in this task. And at the end of the day, he can just click on PDF button here and update and send the daily report, the DPR to the office team. So let's say I just open this report and I can share this report to my office team using WhatsApp or email. Right. So this DPR will basically have all the information of what all work is being done today, what is the labor which is present on site, what is the material inventory which is being used or received today, and if there are any material requests which are pending, those also can be mentioned here. And if there is any equipment which is being used, that also is present in the TPR. So this is the summary report of the project which can be added by the site supervisor. Now let's go back to the screen. Here the balance can be seen as zero right now because there is no advance which is given by the office to the site supervisor as of now, and there are no expenses being done by the site supervisor as well. Now let's try giving some advance from the desktop to the site supervisor. We'll just go into the desktop screen and pay some advance to site supervisor. We'll click on the payment out button, select the site supervisor name. Let's say we are paying him 50,000 advance for miscellaneous expenses which is being done on site. Now we will go back to the site supervisor screen. We can see that 50,000 is being received by the site supervisor. Now whenever any expense is being done by him on site, he will just click on I paid button, mention the amount of the expense. Let's say he's spending 2,000 today. Tea, coffee for labor. Right. So this is the miscellaneous expense which is being done. He can add the cost code also. Let's say the cost code he is mentioning as ceiling and roofing, and he's just saving it, right? So now this expense as of now is in the pending mode because this is not approved by the office team yet. Now see when the office team approves this expense, what will happen to this expense. So there is one pending entry as of now. The office team will just look at the expense. There is 2000 expense, tea coffee for labor. This is fine. Let's say we approve this expense. Now, whenever the site supervisor will open this screen, he will see that his now balance is 48,000. So this way, the supervisor balance can be managed. What all advances are being given to the supervisor for what purposes and where he is spending that money. Similarly, if the supervisor has multiple projects, he will just click on my balance screen and he will see what is the net balance of cumulative all the projects combined together. So as of now, 50,000 is being received by the supervisor and 2,000 is the expense. So remaining balance we can see 48,000. And if he wants to download the PDF ledger report of this supervisor, he can download it from here, right? So this is the summary of what all things the supervisor can do inside the application, right from material management to labor management of attendance management of the labor, the progress management, as well as the equipment usage report, and his own balance management, which is the remaining balance, which is as based on the advance which is being given by the site office to the supervisor. Thank you.